Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer podcast. Before we get into this week's podcast, we got to thank our amazing sponsor who's been really with us since the beginning, the before times of Vision Pro. It is our good friends over at Sync Fusion. Listen, are you building apps for literally like anything on the planet? You need like, I don't know, controls, charts, graphs. You need like PDF processing, Excel, Word, pretty much any control that you can think of. Sync Fusion has you covered. Whether you're building mobile apps, desktop apps, web apps with pretty much any framework in the world, Sync Fusion has you covered. I use them personally in my applications and I simply love them. They have great dashboard reporting, and all sorts of these widgets integrate instantly into your applications. Just really saves you a bunch of time. Head over to syncfusion.com/merge conflict to learn more about all of their amazing widgets for just about anything that you can possibly build. Syncfusion.com/merge conflict. And thanks to Sync Fusion for sponsoring this week's pod. All right, Frank, let's get into it. We tease the teaser. But Frank, it sounds like you are finally about to drop $35 bajillion on a Vision Pro because somebody is sweet Vision Pro apps, and you got all the sweet betas. It's a beta summer and it's sizzling.
Don't hold me to it. I have not committed to spending the big dollars. I did commit to downloading the big gigabytes, though. I'm like, I can do that much. Who doesn't have 20 gigabytes to spare on their hard drive for yet another copy of Xcode and all the little devices? And I run this app called Grand Perspective if you're ever looking to free up hard drive space, which I had to do because I was installing an Xcode.
Oh, no.
I run an app called Grand Perspective, and it's just a really nice way to visualize how much space is how much it shows the geometry of how much space something's taken up. And this new Xcode, yes, I got the beta, and it came with the Vision Pro, and we're going to talk about it, but all I noticed in my Grand Perspective is 2 new giant blocks taking up space on my hard drive. Boy, that Vision Pro does not come for free.
And I love hard drive visualization software before we get into Vision Pro. I think on Windows, they use like WinStat or something like that.
Yeah, WinDirstat?
Something like that. Yeah, and it's just like all these squares and things. It's like blobs, and it just helps you find huge files. It's amazing. But it's just like, oh, wow. Yeah. And, and I'll also say this. We had some people comment about different laptops and things that we were talking about recently. And, when you're going through and you're putting together your laptop and you're like, like extra $200 for 1 terabyte instead of 512, or for 256 versus 512, you should probably always just get the bigger hard drive. Like, let's just be honest about it, because the thing when I used to build desktop computers back in the day, and still do as my main driver, is I just need another hard drive for installing Xcode. I slap in a hard drive, right? But you can't do you can plug it in, but it's not the same, right? You just get the bigger hard drive. Just spend the money, all the RAM, all the hard drive.
I have 2 external hard drives hooked up to this computer, and I make the mistake all the time. I always bump up the CPU, I bump up the RAM, and then I have no money left over for the hard drive. And you know what you feel the most, though, in the long run? It's that hard drive. Like, you get a good end CPU, you're not going to notice the difference between 3.6 and 3.8 gigahertz.
The thing is, and things just, especially as a developer, but even as a non-developer user, just things as you use them more, the space just seems to go away. I did a deep dive one time on my computer at work because I was running out of space. I'm like, where is this? What's happening?
Yeah.
And it was like my Outlook archive, my Word archives, my PowerPoints that are like, this PowerPoint, my messages.
My messages is 10 gigabytes.
It's ridiculous, right? It's like, what am I paying for on iCloud? Oh, just my iMessages? Great. And there's not really good purging things at the end of the day either to really clean stuff up.
Since I just said bad things about Xcode, let me say a good thing about Xcode. In the new Mac OS, if you go to Settings, General, Storage, it'll bring up a list. And in that list, one of them's Developer. If you click the I icon in Developer, it'll bring up all the little things that you can delete from Xcode, pretty safely delete from Xcode. And you'll be amazed what you have there. Like, I've been using this machine for so many years that I just had like 5 years worth of iOS simulators that I'm like, I don't need to test on iOS 10 anymore. So you can delete that simulator. So they actually make that pretty easy to delete that stuff.
Well, good. You've deleted it. You've installed the X codes and the Vision Pros. Let's talk about development. Like,
Yeah.
where are we at? Let's talk about. Let's get into it. I'm excited. I have no idea. I haven't installed it at all, so I'm ready.
New simulator, baby. New SDK, baby. They actually do it piecemeal now. I don't know when they started doing this with Xcode. Maybe somewhere in the 14 line. But when you download Xcode, it's actually small now, 3 something gigabytes, and then it'll ask you which SDKs you want and
Mm,
visionOS, the SDK. The SDK internally looks like it used to be called XR. So you're going to see a lot of XRs around in source code and things like when you're trudging around. But yeah, so you'll bring up Xcode, you'll download another 7 or 8 gigabytes to get the Vision OS, and you get a new simulator. I love simulators. They're very important. I remember I did a lot of watch development in the early days on the simulator. I did a lot of iPad development on the. Did I do simulator? I must have, because I feel like I had like early apps for that one. Anyway,
yeah, and it was like, well, yeah, the only way when a device isn't out is to simulate or emulate, right? Like you got
yeah,
to have them, you got to collect them all, and there's actually a new install process. I'm excited because I kind of want to install it now just to experience it because the last time I think maybe maybe it was 14. I have to have 14 on it at least, but maybe because it's like, oh, I already have those installed, I just reinstalled it. But
yeah,
I kind of like this new mechanism, which seems more like Visual Studio. Like, hey, what workloads do you want? Which makes all the sense in the world. Like, let me be selective of what I
yeah.
want. I don't need, I don't need tvOS if I'm never developing a tvOS app.
Yeah, compliments to them. It's broken very simply. It's iOS, tvOS, watchOS, and now visionOS. So just
Beautiful.
pick which ones of those you want to do. Yeah, I didn't pick watch this time, and I felt guilty. It was a guilty little checkbox staring back at me there. I'm like, I really haven't worked on any watch apps
You
in a
can
while. Anyway,
you can always go back. All right. So are there
who
templates?
needs
Like,
them?
are there
Yeah,
templates in this thing? Like, what does it look? Because when you install stuff, usually there's always like a template, right? Like the Maui
yeah.
one is like button clicker, shows you some stuff. There used to be more in Xamarin Forms. Like
Hmm.
in Xcode, there's like for iOS, there's like always like the page and the tabs and a bunch of other stuff. Like what are the Vision Pro like templates like? Is it just like here's a
Yeah.
spinning cube? Because that's like the default, like here's a
God,
cube, or is it just an empty space and the void?
the original one was Spinning Cube, and then Apple upped the game a little bit, and they put a little jet aircraft in. That was the Scene Kit
Mm,
demo, and the AR kit one about jet thing. That was awesome. Um, they, I gotta say, I'm not too impressed with the templates this time. But of course,
oh
yes, there are
no,
templates. And the trickiest thing with Apple templates is they still do the wizard thing, where like you select a Vision app, and then they ask you a few questions with
yeah,
no help there, making you make some
perfect.
critical decisions without knowing what the heck any of these things mean. Like they ask you, is your app in a window or a volume? I'm like, well, define volume. Aren't we all in a volume? Is this a theoretical volume? And then, okay, so that's one decision. And then they're like, immersive mode. Which immersive mode would you like? And you can have
Oh,
uh, mixed,
okay.
full.
Huh.
I forget what the other one is, but let's call it partial because that sounds good.
These
So
are
you got to make
and
some.
yeah, these are like and like the interesting part. I remember like in the beginning was like, do you want to use core data or do you want to use this other stuff? Like all these things, like, and it architects your application and puts on all these things that are like you're right, are like fundamental to like, okay,
Yeah.
I got to just do a new file new, and like now I got to try all these mixtures because you're not explaining to me what any of this stuff is.
Right. So let me get these right. So you can have no immersive space. I'll talk about what that actually is.
Okay,
Mixed, progressive, and full. Those are your things.
there's a
But yeah, it's
lot.
that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but that first one was really bothering me, window or volume. So you know what I do with Apple, because this isn't my first rodeo. I create the full permutation combination of all the options as 100 projects, and then I just go look at what the difference is between all of them so I can see what the heck the stupid template is doing there. So I did that. I made like 12. And I made a lot of projects, and I ran every single one of them. And James, there was no spaceship to greet me. There are two balls. They just spheres. They just put two spheres on the screen, and I'm
I'm
like,
in a kettle.
I'm
No
not
couch.
feeling
No.
immersed. That was the
Uh,
immersive space, but I wasn't feeling the immersion. But they do have WWDC demos, samples that you can download from the developer pages that are a lot more informative than the template. So I did a mixture of playing around with the templates and playing with the demos from DubDub.
that makes
Uh,
sense. You know, and
yeah.
templates are always a struggle, right? Because there's a great debate. Seeing that I've worked very close with the Maui team for a while and the Blazor team for a while, and just the whole .NET team I'm adjacent to, and I've written multi-page documents on templates, and so have other people. So I'm not the only one. But templates are opinionated. They are controversial, and what one person wants is not at all what other people want at all. So you really can't get it right. However, there is something to be said to having samples, which are important, right? Which is like, and ideally, I believe that Android Studio does this. I think that they have the option to create a template or open a sample. Like when you're creating a new project, oh, do you just want to open one of these samples? And like, here's a sample app
Yeah.
that you can kind of go. I think that's what they do. Someone correct me in some place where we can respond to something. And
I wish everyone did that. Like,
yeah,
if it's a
exactly.
sample, let me just name it my own thing so I don't have to use your silly name, because I am going to copy large chunks of it because obviously
Yeah.
I'm learning here. So,
Yeah. But there was no other like guided tour. It was like a workshop. There like, hey, step 1. Okay, step 2, we're going to add this thing. Was there any like training material? No, there wasn't. It's too new. It was just
the
Wild
cliff,
West.
man, the cliff, right? Okay,
Ah,
so like, hoo-wee, it is a cliff. You have to familiarize yourself with a lot of new technologies. If you're like me and have not been keeping up on Reality Kit because you're like, Scene Kit's fine, I don't have to use anything else. Well, you get to learn Reality Kit, which honestly isn't that bad, but it's different enough, and they've actually changed things from iOS enough that you're like, oh, here's an API I have to learn. Can I make a really big complaint now, though? Uh,
sure. You can do whatever you want. It's your
preface.
pod.
APIs, James. Let's say you have an API called ARKit, hypothetically.
Yes.
Let's say you're introducing a new hardware device into the world, hypothetically, and you want to radically redesign this library.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, do you call it a new name? Maybe ARKit Plus, ARKit Pro, ARKit 2. You do something like that, right? What would you do?
Well, it's tricky because you can't break people, in
Mm-hmm.
general. You can't add a 2 to the end of every namespace. This is a conundrum. And
It's completely breaking though. There not one thing is shared with the previous version.
I think you got to give it a new name, probably. You got
Yeah,
to, it's like
yeah.
yet another. I mean, ideally, it could be the same SDK API. But if it's fully breaking, you could introduce it, but then how do you pick? I mean, if it was a NuGet package, now that would be ideal, right? Like I could pick 1 or 2. Like, I mean, ideally in the world of .NET, it would just be a NuGet package. Like, oh, do I want
But
1 or
that would
2,
be a
right?
different version, right? Or a
Yeah, it'd be
different
version 2.
name. Yeah,
It'd be version 2.
sure.
Yeah, it could be Simver, baby, Simver. You can do whatever you
Yeah.
want. Well, I don't know. Imagine a world. I mean, think of it like this: like Xamarin Forms, right? You got to
Mm-hmm.
move it down to Maui. That's a whole different name, different namespace, different
Mm-hmm.
everything, right? It's all this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you go from version 4 to 5 and things don't break,
Yeah.
but if you're saying every API was different, and even in that transition, not every single API was different, and they changed everything. They changed the namespace, they changed the
Mm-hmm.
setup, they changed everything. I guess it's a new name. Is it Reality Kit? Is that what they did?
No, they named it ARKit.
Oh, wow. Okay. Just AR
They
Kit.
kept the name, kept the namespace, completely changed the API.
I love
So
it.
how
That's
can you tell
Apple.
the one from the other? You can't.
Are they
You
both
go
in
to the
there?
document. They're both on the system, but like you go to the Apple Docs and you cannot tell old ARKit even
Oh.
existed. It has been erased from history, which is
Wow.
depressing because that's weird. Just the whole not calling it ARKit 2, not giving it a new name, that's just weird.
Yeah.
What's up with that? But here's my bigger complaint. We ARKit was introduced without like a killer device to go with ARKit. We all thought, well, if we write our apps for ARKit, then maybe in the future some kind of headset or thing will come out and our apps will magically work with it because we took the time to make our apps work with ARKit.
Yeah.
But that's not what's going to happen here. All the work anyone's ever put into writing an ARKit app, throw it out the door. It's not at all compatible with the new system, not
Wow.
in any way.
Wow.
I do have a hack in mind where I might be able to get it to be compatible, but it's a complete hack and Apple doesn't want you doing it. So it's very weird. They made the decision to not support an API that seemed fine. And B, they didn't even call it anything new or semver that thing.
Now, is this the AR kit that is inside of Vision Pro, which would mean like maybe the iOS AR kit is the old one?
You wish.
Oh.
Oddly enough, there are many names now. There is ARKit for visionOS. That is a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
definitely the new one. But there's also ARKit for iOS, which is also the new one, but has
Oh,
slightly breaking
okay.
changes from the
Oh,
visionOS one.
got
There's
it.
also
Great.
ARKit for C, which is a very simple C API. See, ARKit has changed. ARKit used to be a view that would show the camera, and you could put 3D objects into it, thus augmenting a realistic view of the world. That's what ARKit
Mhm.
used to do. Now ARKit looks for floors and walls and maps, and that's about
Mhm.
it. It doesn't do any of the rendering anymore.
Hmm.
And so they made those parts of the API available at a nice low level C, so like super easy to bind to from like C sharp and all that, super easy to call and all that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's very strange. Its entire role. So not only is it a breaking change, the whole role of the framework has changed now in the future. The present, I don't know where we are in the sort of betas.
Well, and that's because what they said, right, is you need to build Vision OS apps. You're going to need to know AR kit, Reality kit, and Scene kit. Another kit? Is there
SwiftUI,
another kit or
no,
just?
well, you need to know SwiftUI because there's SwiftUI
Uh,
stuff too.
well, let's go back. Okay, so let's go back to this because I feel like now what we're saying is we have the windowed mode and the non-windowed mode. Is that me? Is that me picking between Swift UI and not Swift UI, or am I always sort of in a blended mode between those two? Or what are those two modes?
Well, let's say in general, an app has two modes: a windowed mode, which has itself two kind of styles or modes, and then the immersive mode, where
Oh, okay.
you're supposed to be able to put stuff all over, basically randomly in the 3D space that the
Yeah.
user is occupying. So that's the immersive experience. Basically, every app is going to have those two modes. All the templates have it, all the samples have it. This is how you write a Vision app. You have these two things, and
Do
they can be on
you
screen.
do you move between the two? They're both at the same time, like either, or is it
They're
is
on
not a choice?
they're on screen simultaneously.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, and so now going back to those options they made you choose right in the very beginning of creating an app, you have your immersion option. So that mode where you can just put objects randomly in the 3D world, that's called the immersive space, the immersion mode. In that mode, you can choose whether you completely obscure UI, other apps that are running in the background, windowed apps running in the background. Only one
Hmm.
immersive space can run at a time, which made me a little bit sad.
Hmm.
Apps can't mix 3D objects, which makes me a little
Oh,
bit sad.
interesting.
Um, I'll go back to window management in a bit, but just know you can actually have multiple windows up kind of in the world. But in the immersive experience, you choose between the modes that will either always overlay those windows, take the depth into account. I believe that's the mixed one. There is a progressive one that I have not been able to get work yet, but they say introduces portals. Portals?
I like
People
that.
love portals.
I like portals. I'm in.
But the
I
dots
played the
are very
game.
thin and I cannot get it to work. So I have no idea what they actually mean by that, but whatever. What it's actually talking about is just how do the 3D objects you introduce into the user's 3D world, how do those interact with the windows that the thing's putting up there? Because every app pops up in a little window, like I was saying. And if you open multiple apps, you're going to have multiple windows. And so we're going to be living in a world with many floating windows around us.
Which way did they go? Which way did they go? Where's the apps? Where are they? Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, so it's not bad. It's funny. So the window mode, I have only done Swift UI. I haven't tried to get anything else working with it yet. Just lucky enough getting any of this stuff working, right?
Yeah.
I should say the simulator's a little crashy, but when it's working, it's all fine. It's actually it's a very iOS looking user interface, I find. Buttons look like iOS buttons. Overall, it's just a gray, translucent world. It's very Windows Vista, or at least what we were aiming for with Windows
So a lot
Vista.
of arrow UI on that.
Yeah, a lot of arrow UI. I mean, it's the oh gosh, what do you call that? The vibrant views on iOS.
Oh yes,
It's the vibrancy pixel shader running, and it's the vibrancy pixel shader crashing all the time inside of the simulator.
Well, it's a lot of translucence, right? So it's translucence vibrancies overlapping over each other, which math.
Yeah. Yeah. So some fun things though. The windows are 100% resizable. Not 100%, but within limits. So they actually put a little ornament on the corner of it, and you can grab that ornament and resize the windows. They also have a little tab at the bottom, so you can. I thought the idea would be so that you could dock them to things in the real world.
Yeah.
But I haven't fully grokked. A lot of this is weird because I'm working in a simulator with a mouse and a keyboard, and it's not a perfect reflection of how this is going to feel with the real device. But man, I cannot get those windows to like dock or lock to anything. I do not understand the point of the dual draggy thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely know. I definitely am visualizing because I've seen a photo or two of the simulator that's there. Now, is the simulator? I guess it's just a space, but it's just is it like a? Does when you open the simulator, it's like a fake bedroom or a fake living room or something?
Yeah, so it's tricky. What are you going to do for the simulator? Because I've done Oculus things in the past, and I've done terrible ones that would actually show you the screens, and they're all distorted, so that's useless. And then you have the more decent ones like Unity that actually kind of put you into the game, and that's much better. And then it just feels like you're playing a first-person shooter game. But that's correct for VR. But for augmented reality, it's a little bit weirder because you need an interaction between the environment and the virtual stuff, the apps running and all that kind of stuff. So Apple made the decision that although you have a first-person point of view, the objects do lock into the world and they do snap to the world. Even though I have trouble with it, they actually do, and all that works. It's pretty good. The biggest problems are like they don't have good game controls. Like WASD doesn't work, and there's a lot of modes you have to switch between to like rotate versus strafe versus all these things. So like Apple, play a video game and just use video game controls. Like these are solved problems. Just video game controls. Anyway. Yeah.
That's funny because like how do you move around in this? And I'm imagining like if it's a simulator, like there should be a mode where you can WASD and just like move and strafe around, right? Just like here, I'm moving here, I'm moving here, like and turn your head and do this. So how do you operate inside of the simulator?
Oh, it's horrendous. I'm using a trackpad seems best. I've been using pinch to zoom, moves you forwards and backwards.
What?
Up and drag up and not drag. Scroll up and down, scroll left and right, that strafes you up and down, left and right, which is annoying though because it defies gravity. It doesn't keep you locked to the floor like a video game would. And then you can switch between modes that let you choose what click and hold drag does, and you can choose between rotate. Fine. Why didn't you just make that like alt or something? But fine. And then strafe and move forward and back, which I'm like, but you can already do those really easily. Why are those modes? So it's just horrendous. And I should say, if you're in rotation mode, you can't click on things in the UI because
you're moving. You can't interact with stuff while you move. It's impossible.
So Apple, please. Here's my theory. My theory is Apple engineers have had these devices for 2 years now because you cannot build a reasonable app with a simulator. The simulator is a good shot. I get it. It's going to be useful for getting the rough draft of your app in there.
Yeah.
It's not good for anything else. Like I was trying to run some ARKit things. ARKit does the floor detection, wall detection. I just wanted to run those basic things. Those do not work in the simulator. Oh. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I should get back. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, the problem with simulators is that they're simulators, right? And like, there's going to be like, there's so many things that you can't do on an iOS simulator that you have to do on a physical device. And not only things like you're talking about, like with cameras and all this other, but also some APIs. Like a lot of APIs just don't work on the simulator. So like, I am curious, like inside of visionOS, are there just like APIs that like just don't work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they flat like the APIs report, there's an is supported property on them and it says false. So you're like, okay.
Wow. Okay.
That's not like a bug, that's turned off. I do want to get back to the little virtual environments because it's a interesting problem and it is a real difference between the Oculus because when you log into an Oculus, you are put into a virtual environment.
Yeah.
And that's what's being done in the simulator, but that's just a simulator. This is AR. That virtual environment is going to be real for the user. So it's a little bit funny that they actually had to build up these cute little virtual environments for the simulator. And they built a few of them. And I've been playing with them. They built like 4, 5. And so I've been going through all these environments, which, to be clear, are just for the simulator. This isn't the Oculus. These environments should not be in the real device. There's no point for them. It's not augmented reality. So it's weird. And they're cute. One's a museum. I hang out in the bedroom a lot. It's comfortable, but the museum's really nice. It's got some modern art in it. Modern art's half decent.
That's cool.
So I'm having fun with that. But also, the other thing I always do with a new simulator is you have to try every single app pre-installed on it and go through every single setting in the settings app. So I've been having fun learning all the vision settings. I do have to say, in the simulator, the default font is tiny. I know I'm getting old, but this is not me being old. The default font is tiny. Please go into settings, accessibility, and crank up that font because it'll make your life so much better when you're.
Well, you need to have one of those crazy 8K monitors and put only the simulator on that 8K monitor and go from there. Now, okay, so I love that there's these environments. Is there an airplane environment? Because that'd be hilarious.
No, I don't think so. But you're making me wonder because I got so locked into that museum. I did less exploring. One thing that did make me upset, though, if you go to the settings in general, there is another environment. And this is actually in visionOS. This is properly a part of the device. And yet none of those buttons, and they had great pictures. They had Mount Hood, a bunch of California things I've never heard of, and a bunch of other mountains I've never heard of, but they had Mount Hood on there. And you could click Mount Hood and absolutely nothing happens.
Oh, perfect. Nailed it. Yeah. Now, can you just take like iCircuit and like install it? Does that work?
No, sadly not. iCircuit has that old ARKit dependence. I don't know what else to call old ARKit, but old ARKit. Yeah. No, I take that back. It does not. I mean, it does. I don't.
Well, because if you remember, right, when we got the M1 devices, there was a way for us to basically sideload our apps onto that device to test them without making any changes, right? So that was kind of my question: is there a way to sideload an app that exists Because they
Yeah.
said all the iOS apps are just going to run
So
over
here,
there.
I bet you there is a way to do it, but James,
Mm.
I cannot figure it out because you would think it'd be pretty obvious too. So I thought, well, maybe it'd make sense if a Xamarin app can't be sent over right away. You got to play around with some tooling, get some things figured out. And I thought, okay, I'll just try it from the Xcode side. I could
Yeah.
not figure out how to deploy an iOS app to visionOS,
Hmm.
which is very strange because even in the settings, they have a little thing that says uh, compatible with Vision OS via the iOS emulator. It's the same little thing they say for like not Mac OS or when you're running an
Yeah.
iOS app on an M1 processor. That thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So it looks like it's there. It looks like it supports it. There are apps pre-installed on the device that are
Yeah.
obviously just the iOS counterparts. And so like I do have a feel for how an iOS app feels on the device, but for some reason I cannot get anything to deploy to it that's not an actual Vision OS.
Hmm.
And I haven't figured out how to build those outside of Swift UI yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's what I was curious about. Is like, oh yeah, can I just take one of my existing apps, shove it over there, give it a test? Oh, ship it on and doing a thing. And yeah, I am curious. Like, do we need to re-release our app with a checkbox for it to show up? Like on, we have a year or so or whatever, how long to go, so we got a lot of time to
Mm-hmm.
figure this out. But I was I was hoping because I do think that that's one nice perk about the M1s that we participated in, was actually trying it out, sideloading, and getting things running.
So that was an experiment that I didn't quite finish for this show, and I did want to finish it, but I had to download all of the betas and all the SDKs a second time to get them onto my M1 processor laptop.
Hmm.
And I was curious if they allowed the side loading on an M1 because of who knows what. Apple's got the
Yeah.
weirdest requirements these days. So I was wondering if it was a limitation of my Intel Mac. So I didn't get to run that experiment. So it is still possible. Maybe you could get your iOS apps onto it via an M1, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm not encouraged. I feel like at least this is beta 2. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe in the future they'll allow it.
Nice. Well, what else you got? So you got some stuff up and running. There's spheres that are out there. You got some environments. You're playing around with AR kit slash reality kit slash Swift UI. Like, what is there to know?
Yeah, the Swift UI, there's not much to know other than it's the basic Swift UI. It literally, by the way, James, of all the controls they have text box is one of the big ones that they have. They weren't, so
Nice.
my stupid example from last week rings true. That there's like 3 controls in this thing, and text box is one of them. So I'm proud of myself for
Nailed it.
picking that. By the way, the keyboard looks a little bit ugly, but whatever. Aside from that, they introduced a new control that can just host a 3D object, which
Hmm,
is nice.
I like that.
Would have been nice when I was writing iCircuit 3D to have that control. um, the more interesting stuff is with Reality Kit. So you really have to learn that. If you've done any modern game development, it's very similar to that. They use an entity and component system
Okay.
versus object-oriented polymorphism. It's like everything's an entity, and then you just add different kinds of components to it to add state to it and add behaviors to it. Components add state. These things called, I think they're just called services, are the things that can actually run in your update loop and change the state of objects and do things like that. So you're supposed to write things that way. It's kind of standard for modern game development, how a modern game engine would work. I find it a little bit frustrating. I like to be a little bit lower level, but it works. Takes me forever to figure out how to do anything in it, though.
Yeah, I was curious if it was going to feel very game engine-y, and it's sounding like it is.
It is, but it's a very basic game engine. It's a bit basic to be
That's
blunt.
good. That's good. That's good. Start basic. Start basic. That's all I'm saying. You don't need to go to the
Yeah,
extreme. That's my opinion personally. If they want the apps, but they do need an advanced mode, because like I am curious, like how did some of the stuff that they showed, how did you get to that advanced state without going beyond the sandbox that they put you
yeah.
in?
Well, one trick is to use a advanced game engine like Unity or Unreal or something like that. But now this is pretty cool, and they've been working on this for a while. They've been releasing an app with Xcode for a while now called Reality Composer, and this is every game engine needs a level editor. This is the level editor for Reality Kit, and it's decent. It's not a 3D modeler. You can't use it for any kind of CAD stuff, but what it is a scene composer and a way to just organize assets for your app.
Mm.
And they make generating assets dynamically hard enough in your app and annoying enough in your app that you really do want to do everything in Reality Composer. So a uh, big, big part of my learning has been just spending time in yet another CAD app to learn inside Reality Composer, learning how it works. It's an okay app. It's called Reality Composer Pro now because
Ooh,
it's a
pro
Vision
version.
Pro. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It's not bad. I've noticed funny little things like they have a whole modern shader editing pipeline in it, which is really
Wow.
cool. You create nodes and you connect them with chords, and it's a really nice UI. And someone spent a lot of time really perfecting it, and it
Yeah,
updates the preview in real time. I mean, this stuff game editors do, but it's just nice to have like a basically free app that does all this for you also,
that's cool.
and it saves all the files in USDA, which is some Pixar or Disney file format that Apple has adopted.
Nice.
Easy enough to read, easy enough to understand. So, no problems there. I did have one hilarious problem though. So, I'm going on and on about how I actually really love this pixel shader in it because it's fun. It's fun. You drag things and then it turns red and does things. The moment I do even the most basic pixel shader for any of my objects and put that over onto the simulator crashes. The whole OS crashes. The app doesn't crash, the whole OS crashes. Every
Wow.
time I add even the most basic turn the pixel red shader. So it's annoying because it's definitely early betas. Like the design tool is there. The design tool is better than the simulator, unfortunately. So I'm I don't know if I want to spend $3,500, but I really want a piece of hardware just to see what all my designs actually look like on the real
Yeah.
device.
That's always that's the struggle, right? You're like, oh, I know I'm only going to be able to get so far, and like, is my vision going to be able to be realized on the simulator or not, or do I need to actually get this hardware device? And that was a hard thing. That was a hard thing with watches. That was a hard thing with the different the new hardware that comes out is that. And this is it's transformative time to be thinking about it. Like, okay, is this a thing that I need to now invest a bunch of money in because that's the only way I'm actually gonna? So you got to make that decision. And this is a business expense, but it's still a
Money's
big
still not
business
free.
expense. Still
Yeah.
not free. Yeah. And especially it's not like it doesn't sound like they're going to have a developer program beyond coming into the store or wherever and testing it out. So, they
Yeah.
can't just like give you a discounted one and then you return it or whatever. So it doesn't sound like they're going to do that like they did for the M1, which was pretty nice.
Speaking of cheating, I don't know why I said that. That's not a segue. Um, when it all comes down to it, the way you manipulate your UIs is you're building, aside from the windowed world, there are these two universes, the windowed world and the reality kit world. In the reality kit world, you're just composing together a scene. Scenes have entities, entities have meshes attached to them, some behaviors. In the end, you can export that to a USDZ file.
Hmm.
You can take any old iOS device, load up a USDZ file. If you put the link in Safari, it'll even offer to put that into an AR view for you.
Wow.
So, a really terrible way to debug an app or something, I've just been playing with this idea, is just export your whole scene graph to a file and open it on an iPhone or something. And so I'm bringing this up because if it really does come down to that, where they only let us look at these things in the store, I'm literally going to do that. I'm just going to
Hmm.
export my app to a file, which is fun because it's graphics. It's all built the way it can do that. Just export it all to a file. And when I'm at the store, I'm just going to go to a website and open that file and see how my app looks in the real device.
That's a good hack. I like that. Well, anything else we need to know, Frank, before we close it out, or what do I need to do? Do I need to go install on everything? That's what I need to do. Is it go time? Should I save the precious gigabytes or just waste them on? Another Xcode.
I'd say I haven't. I wish I could tell you like go get this one demo because it would be super mind trippy and all that. But I've had such a hard time getting any of the demos to work. It maybe wait for beta 4. I think you will
Okay.
want to try it out because the simulator will be good. But maybe beta 4 ish.
All
Beta
right.
2 is a little bit hot off the press. And now the next topic for us to discuss for the rest of eternity is what do people want to do in a VR environment? What kind of apps should we even be writing for this thing? But we'll table
Mm.
that topic for later.
Well, we will talk about that maybe next week because I have several ideas in general on this, but I think it's a good point. Well, let us know if you've tried out the new Xcodes and the new visionOS simulators and all that goodies, and what maybe are you building? Because what do people want to build and what do they want to use? It's actually less of what do they want to build, what should we be building, and more what do people want to use, which is fantastic, right? Look at you, PM hat on. But yeah, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter at Merge Conflict FM. You can also hit us up, not on Threads yet, but soon enough on Threads. You can find me on Threads and on Twitter at James Montemagno or YouTube at James Montemagno or anywhere at James Montemagno. Frank Kruger at Frank Kruger on many places, at Proclaim on many places. The podcast at Merge Conflict FM on many places, including our exclusive Patreon membership that you can sign up for at patreon.com/Merge Conflict FM. And we put out bonus pods every single week. You can get going for as low as $2 a month. That supports the pod and all the fees that are ensued. We use Zencastr, which is a great tool. We use Fireside, which is a great tool. We have to pay for a very expensive .fm domain name because I'm an idiot and decided to do that. But yes, you can go over there and do that stuff. We talked about Threads this week. So if you're interested in our thoughts on Threads, then go ahead and check out the page. That's going to do it for this week's podcast. So until next week, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.